Hello everybody and welcome here to Bounce Busters on our first show about starting to get you into the bouncy castle hire industry. Now, out of all the businesses that might be out there today, they do take a lot of money to set up, time and planning. Not to say this business also does the same thing. However, this is one of these businesses that doesn't require a lot of money to get into. Now let's say, where do we begin? Now first of all, you have to have an idea on a budget that you have to spend on your business to start with. Now, most startup packages, most people start up anywhere between £1,000 and £3,000 is a good enough amount of money to get you started in the game. Now, of course, you've got this money here. Where do we begin? Okay, let's look at inflatables. Now, you've got two choices here. You can either buy brand new or you can buy second hand. Now, there is nothing wrong with buying second hand. You just got to know what to look for when buying units off auction websites and stuff like that. However, if you got around between £2,000 to £3,000, you can go to one of these companies here in the UK and you can buy what's called a startup package. Now, the startup package normally includes castles of various types, pumps, leads, the whole lot to get you rolling from day one. Now, let's talk about what castles to get. Now, in your fleet, if you're going to be buying 3 new castles, get a bit of variety because that will open up your range of audience and your range of hires as well. For instance, having a A-frame stock box castle, which every hire company's got, is a must because that castle can be suited for any type of party. Now, a second type of castle, which is very popular at the moment, are castles and slide combos, with the slides at the side or slides at the front, whichever it may be. They are very popular at the moment and they always hire out as well. Now, a third type of castle to get, which we've learnt over the years is very popular, are activity castles. Now, these are castles that have got the biff bash poles inside and activity stuff for kids to do. Now, they seem to be really popular as well. But however, it's up to you and what suits your business and your clientele and your area as well. For our area, it does work with a little bit of variety down here and they do love the choice. So if you give your customers a choice of castles, you've covered all bases, and not only that, you'll make the most money out of your castles. Well, that's just a little bit about buying new castles. Now, ideally, if you are starting up, it would be the best to buy new castles because then that would save any hassle and it gives you time to learn about your castles and how they work and how they're manufactured and what their weak points are and their strengths are. Now, moving on, if your budget doesn't stretch that far to all brand new castles, you can go down the second-hand hire route. Again, there's nothing wrong with this. I've bought many second-hand castles over the years which have turned out to be a winner. However, you got to be careful on what you look out for, especially if you're new, because sometimes you can pick up castles on auction websites for around about £200 to £300. They do sound cheap. Normally it is for a reason. Again, sometimes you can pick up a real good bargain, and sometimes they're just really old castles that have just come out of a fleet and they might be still good to use and everything like that. But one thing you got to be careful with is the bed. Now, if there is any problems with the bed and it needs restitching and anything like that, you know, that could cost a lot of money to get fixed. However, if you do know someone who fixes castle, he might be able to do you a cheap deal. So anyway, there is a choice there. All I can say is just be careful on what you're looking out for, and when you do go see these castles, go see them in the flesh before you hand over your hard-earned cash, because from the pictures to the real thing, you need to see if it's a working castle and it can pass a safety test. Well, that's just a little heads up about what to buy and where to go for your first bouncy castles. Now, again, it does go on your budget, you know, how much money you've got to spend and how far you're willing to go and how many castles you want to buy to start off with. Now, before you do go and buy anything and rush out and start everything up, do shop around, do check out all the companies, do some research before you go and shell out your hard-earned cash on some of the manufacturer companies. if you do that, you'll get it right the first time and you won't have any issues going down there. Now, there are people who buy castles from China. Now, there's probably nothing wrong with that, but I've not personally bought any myself, so again, it's just general opinions from what I've seen and heard. But sometimes those castles don't pass a European safety check because they're not built for the standards over here. But I have seen some that do pass. So Chinese castles, that's entirely up to you again. They do look fantastic, but just be careful when you're buying from overseas. Now anyway, if you want some more information about anything knowledge about the industry here, there's a place here called the BIHA. Now these places are good to sign up to because you can get tons of information from other hirers and hints and tips, and you can even ask questions yourself going along the journey, because this business is all about a big journey from A to Z. So there's a lot involved in this, and seriously, even we're still learning today after 10 years of operation. Right folks, that's just a little insight on our startup. We're going to be continuing this next week. Now that you've bought your castles, or you're deciding to buy your castles, we're going to be going through some information about what to do next, where to advertise, and how to get your business up and rolling straight away. So stay tuned for that next week, and until then, happy bouncing. See ya.